4:30, is it? So we'll just break all the speed limit. We can stay here for a bit longer. So what I can do is take you through the budget now, and those of you who may want to raise questions individually, Jane and Bernadette will be outside, and you can go and see them, unless somebody has a question. Last time, raise anything publicly? Okay, Jane, there's on this sheet here, the gentleman has a question. Information session, frequently asked questions. 6.
So the question on the sheet that you're asking about is, will civil servants lose salary and or jobs due to job evaluation? So Cabinet, when they approved the approach for job evaluation, confirmed that there would be no job losses. So that's why when the increase is more than 15%, that's why you're being issued with the contract at the lower band, to confirm that you're definitely not going to lose your job. Okay? There are no job losses through the job evaluation, and no one is being offered a salary that is less than their current substantive post. Okay? Even if you're acting, there's a salary increase on the acting. It might mean that you don't keep the acting role because it will go through open merit, but there are no job losses. Job security is still there.
Thank you. One question for nurses. How do you demarcate for a nurse who just graduated, just finished, completed intern, second year, and to a nurse who has worked for 15 years, who receive the same salary of 20,000? Thank you.
So they've got the same salary in transition, but as soon as performance assessment comes in, we would obviously expect that the more experienced nurse will get a higher score through the performance. And in future, so this is part of transition. In future, so when nurses first get appointed, they do their internship, they're on a lower band. Okay, so registered nurses are on band F, intern nurses are on band E. Once they finish their internship, they actually have to apply on merit to go up to band F. It's not automatic. Those jobs have to be advertised and they will compete. And whether they go on to step 1, 2 or 3 will depend on how well they did through their internship and the assessment process for them to go on to be on the registered nurse band. So you have to bear with us for transition, okay? But I did mention that in January there'll be a special assessment for anyone who's on the transition step, and through that we expect people to move on to step 1 as well. So there's another salary increase before the new financial year, as soon as we can bring that in.
Thank you, sir and ma'am. I just want to raise a few questions of concern in regards to Technical College of Fiji. For the staff that we have, they've got several different rate of salary band. Can't they just go in the salary band? Because their qualification is the same throughout. That first. Secondly, what about their leave conditions? Their leave condition. Their leave condition is not the same as secondary schools, which they does not have the 2 weeks holiday in the trimester basis. They've got annual leaves. If that one can be taken for consideration in regards to the Technical College of Fiji staff. And lastly, the job description, because the head of campus running the whole thing, we don't have any assistant principal, we don't have any vice principal, we don't have any head of section. If that job description for the staff at the Technical College be verified and they pay accordingly to the work they do in the school. Thank you, sir.
So with the technical colleges, I'll start with the teachers. So the salary bands for the teachers, there are two different bands. One band is if the teacher doesn't have a teaching qualification and therefore they're an assistant teacher. The other one is if they're fully qualified, and that's band F. There have been, I think they're fairly well publicised, some issues with the way education allocated and told us who was who. So basically, anyone who thinks that they've gone to the wrong band, so if they've got a teaching qualification and a trade qualification, they should be on band F. If they've got only one of those, then they'd be on band D. If they think they're not on the right band, they can email us on that email address. The leave conditions in the technical colleges, we're going to look at that through the staffing ratio study that's starting next month with the World Bank, because it's a different condition. The ministry is writing up the job descriptions, and in relation to the head of campus, we've received a submission from the ministry. They've rewritten the job descriptions and they've sent them through for a review.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay, we're warming up now. Okay. Where's the other guy with the mic? He's gone? He's gone? Okay, that's all right.
Thank you, sir. Just to highlight to you, on behalf of my dental colleagues over here, there's a vast differences or disparities in the salary structure between the medical and dental professions here in Fiji.
We know that. And actually it's being attended to. We've received submissions on this from a number of places. And Jane can very quickly tell you what we are doing about the dental. Just to save you the time,
So, yes, dental. We've received a submission from the Dental Association and from the oral health workers, and we've met with them last week. We've met with the ministry. They've put another submission in as a joint group to have another look. Okay. Again, it's what I was saying. It's about the quality of the information that came in and what we're able to do with it after that. But we can't fix the structure of dental through the job evaluation. That's a separate process that has to happen.
Ma'am, I'd just like to ask a question on behalf of our enrolled nurses, those who are new in the system now. In this band page, I cannot see them anywhere. So where are they falling?
Can you tell me what was their old classification?
Enrolled nurses.
Yeah, but NUO, they were NUO 7, NUO 8?
Yeah, or just like orderlies. We have orderlies. Orderlies, nurses orderlies.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the Ministry of Health has the full list. That's a snapshot. So I don't have the full list either. It's a book about that big, so I don't carry it everywhere. If you send me an email, I can confirm for you. It is most likely band D for dog, but I would need to check that for you.
It's not here. Yeah.
No, they're not all listed.
I hope you understood that. There are many positions. That's just a snapshot. So you can get the full list. Just send it to Jane and she'll give you the whole list. Now, like I said, and I have to say this again, some ministries, the HR departments are much better than others. Some of them are a bit more forthcoming with information. We've told the respective permanent secretaries and the HR divisions they need to be very transparent in the manner in which they communicate with you. A lot of the problems we have seen in some of the ministries that the inability to communicate. And I think we need to obviously get those respective ministries to be able to improve the HR departments and the manner in which they communicate with you. I think nearly everybody over here has a work email or has access to email. They should be able to send all that information to you. I don't know, did you mention allowances to them? Okay, just over here, this sheet over here, as you know, if people have asked us about allowances, at the back of it, it says allowances. And you'll see it says allowances, salary bands, are inclusive all allowances with the following exceptions. What that means is that these allowances that are listed here, these allowances will be paid to you wherever it's applicable to you over and above your salary. Okay? So if, for example, somebody goes and works in a maritime area, they'll obviously get a maritime allowance on top of the salary you'll get. If you are eligible for housing allowance, that housing allowance is separate to your salary. It's on top of that. In the same way, for example, your meal allowance. Everybody's obviously eligible for meal allowance. What is really interesting, as you know, we've increased the meal allowance from $9 to $20. Now, a lot of people have said to me, why have you increased the meal allowance from $9 to $20? It's a lot of money. But you know, $20 may be a lot of money, maybe in a small town like Tavua, but $20 is not a lot of money in, say, Suva, or in Denrao, if you go to Denrao, or even Nandi. So we've decided to have it slightly higher, so at least then nobody can complain about it. In that way, we can do a review in 2 years' time. So the point that I'm trying to make to you is that with the reforms, it also gives us the ability to be able to look at some of the other allowances. We're redoing the general orders to make your life a lot more easier. Is the point that I made to all the ministries and permanent secretaries over the weekend too. The job of your HR departments is to look after the staff. If they look after the staff, for example, say with nurses, if they look after the nurses and the nurses are happy, then obviously the nurses will have a much better output. When the nurses have a much better output, then it reaches our objective, which is not just to look after you, but also that all members of the public will be happy with your service. The same way we've told the Ministry of Education, the head office needs to look after all the teachers. There's something like 10,000 teachers. If all the teachers are happy and they get, environment where there's open merit recruitment, there's transparency, and there's a lot of communications, then they will be able to deliver their service to the 220,000 odd students they're teaching. For us, that's very important because as government, we view all citizens, all Fijians as clients of ours. We need to provide service to them. If we're able to get the civil service to be able to have a good work environment, they are service orientated, then everybody is service orientated throughout the country. Okay, so just very quickly through the economy, there's no more questions, but Jane and Bernadette will be outside and you can go individually and see them yourselves. Now,